question. Should a murderer go to jail for murdering?
Absolutely.
Should a thief go to jail when he steals?
Absolutely.
Should a robber pay back the money he robbed?
Absolutely.
So why shouldn't the white man pay for what he did?
That's right. That's right.
One day you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. Dog eats a dog. Payback is a dog. Dog eats a dog. Payback is a dog. Dog eats a dog. Payback is a dog.
I'm in a hell of a hole, was never expected to grow. Just obstacle set in the road, that a result of me selling my soul. The story I'm telling is cold, but yet it's what everyone knows. The white man's the devil is known. America was never a home, only a place of captivity, safe facility, hating, disfigure me. They claim that I'm lazy, be killing me. Maybe this slavery draining my energy. 400 years and counting, the trail of my tears is countless. Main fact that I'm here is astounding, but I can't wait till this shit is surrounded. Ready to tangle my king and the angels, be ready to rap. Cracking the sky, nuclear missiles and make it official. I'm capturing every cracker surviving. Put them all in chains where they need to be, slavery for me. And let the whole world see that with them in the cage and safer in the streets. Put the dog on a leash, get resolved for the beast. 144, get the ruler show, we could all be at peace. As soon as the trumpets are sound, your kingdom we busting it down. The only way justice is found, the time for your judgment is now.
You'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. Dog eats a dog. Payback is a dog. Dog eats a dog. Payback is a dog. Dog eats a dog. Payback is a dog.
Look, ain't no remorse in my blood slim. It won't be no compromise. Now it's time to feed the worms. Watch his body turn to flies. I clutch iron while you trust the lies. The next Glock I buy gon' be Gen 5. I get it customized. And sending shots off like farewell. Praying payback come back around like a carousel. Still remember your Honda's words ringing in my head like bells. Said you in this body, you fit the Lord, fuck the cartel. Triangle choke, apply pressure to the game like I did Vondale. Payback's a bitch in a dress, she a bombshell. Revenge is served cold, I just hope they making oxtail. Glock fresh out the box, I swear it got that new car smell. Made myself a target in the world of mad shooters. That was designed fire for our babies to pass through. In the day of our king's reign, I'll be overzealous. They bought my jealous, I bought brand new parabellums.
Someday you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. Dog eats a dog. Payback is a dog. Dog eats a dog. Payback is a dog. Dog eats a dog. Payback is a dog. Back roll.
This shit gon' ride.
You'll never see another nigga like this. Used to have that white bitch popping on the night shift. Now I'm one westward, sharper than an ice pick. On you rappers' necks and it's feeling like some vice grips. Yeah, that's light shit. Send my bro a kite quick. Times of war, we ain't forget about you. Keep your light lit. Rappers can't see. Most of them scared to witness. Go on, close your eyes. There's one right here for the trenches. Bad bitches, natural hair or extensions. Hood niggas that'll probably grip like some dentures. Brothers on them fences. jacket, my co-captain. Riding on these whole rappers, my hoes fabulous. Now I don't mean that derogatory, but I'm a player and there's no my women riding for me. I avoided Maury, I got 2 jets. If I can't make it through for them, then I'm useless. Sit down that roof, Chris, with a couple bosses. After the war, just to count our losses. It's not many. You see a smile on my face, but I'm not friendly. Gone on my way, sipping white Henny. I just hope this shit go right. Living in the dark, you don't know light. Gotta got my heart with my bow tie. Waiting on the storm in my whole life. I just hope this shit go right. Living in the dark, you don't know light. Gotta got my heart with my bow tie. Living in the storm in my whole life. My whole life. It's so melodic. When I be dropping this ebonics, this ghetto phonics, it got me on the level supersonic. My bomb atomic, and you know where you can find me. Somewhere probably folding this paper origami. My name is pure as the Dasani, my wave is like a tsunami. I went from 0 to 100, feeling like Ricky Bobby. I made a deal with the Reaper. Got a couple wives, they some keepers. Talk a lot of shit, but you can't walk a mile in my sneakers. Bitches go to Miami, come home with change features. Now she got a BBL, her ass fatter. Trying to show up all them niggas that laughed at her. Now when they see her, they only wanna fuck her. They just wanna touch her, they don't wanna cuff her. They just wanna come and kick it with her like a punter. Turned her to a runner, now it's all aboard the train. Fenty on her face, but it's not concealing the pain, it's a shame. That's why I'm in the hood like some rap snacks. I know niggas kill you and your mama for a scat pack. Dark tint, matte black, they do it for half that. Had you like 90s Missy in a fucking trash bag. I'm from Philly, we don't do bank accounts, just cash app. I spit a verse and I just watch the time slow. This that God flow, this that shit that rappers die for. That's that uncut Taha Wall straight from Pablo Escobar. I be at the bar like Moscato. They think it's effort, but no, this that block work. Make the countermeasures, take pleasures, making an op hurt. Light is in the sky, cause every verse is a concert. My mind work at speed y'all can't fathom. Listen to the words of a champion. It can't, the streets need another anthem. I just hope this shit go right. Living in the dark, you don't know light. Gotta got my heart with my bow tie. Waiting on the storm in my whole life. I just hope this shit go right. Living in the dark, you don't know light. Gotta got my heart with my bow tie. Living in the storm in my whole life. My whole life.
This is the ISUPK, start out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. I'm the Commander Junior Hama, and tonight is the history class, and we will be discussing the origin and the backstory of Christmas. And we're also going to be talking about, you know, how Christmas is basically a time to lust, a time to act like a savage, you know what I'm saying, and how we not us in UK, but like how us as black people, how we worship other gods, taking on this holiday, this pagan holiday. That's a lot, Israel. So we're gonna get into like some of the origin points. We will be discussing briefly about the winter solstice, Saturnalia, Nimrod, and then how America has adopted it today, and why the children of the Lord, the 12 tribes of the house of Israel, the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Americans, and why we celebrate it. We'll be discussing how it became a holiday for us. All right. You know, typically, I'm gonna get into some of for those who've been following UPK for a little while, I will touch on briefly the usual scriptures that we always go to: Jeremiah 10:2, 10:3, or 10:2 through 4. I'll be touching on that as well. I'm also gonna bring out a couple more scriptures to further explain why it is that black people put wreaths on the door, why they put fire on the trees. All right, so we will be discussing like these several different, I don't say origin points, but like these several different stories and articles and of how and why certain things about Christmas or Xmas can come about. I'm not going to touch too much about the whole Merry Xmas, but like there are several different accounts rather we will be discussing a few different accounts of Christmas, because over time you always take Saturnalia or the winter solstice. They always take different different things from different holidays, or not holidays, different things that they like about certain pagan holidays. They take that and then they make it to like a big business, and for blacks and Hispanics and Native Americans to celebrate, and for themselves to make money as a country, as a government, so forth and so on. So we will be discussing a lot of that. Let me check the YouTube and the Facebook. Also, if y'all got any questions, you know what I'm saying, just type it in on the Facebook or YouTube. All right. So we'll be discussing Nimrod's mother, you know, or his wife, rather. You know, we're going to be talking about who the hell she is, what the Bible has to say about her. We will be discussing about who Nimrod was, you know what I'm saying, and so forth and so on. So let me check the YouTube real quick. Bear with me 1 second. You know, get into this tube review. Let's see. All right, let's see who's in the chat. All right, I got y'all. I'm live in that thing with you. Turn that down. All right. Now let me check this YouTube real quick. Bear with me. Make sure YouTube's still up and running. All right, I think we in there. All right. Most High Christ, I'm in there. All right. All right, Most High Christ. Okay. So I got the YouTube up. I got the Facebook up. So we in there good. If y'all could, title of this class, you know what I'm saying, is basically about like the savagery of this this empire, about how Christmas is just a time to lust. I get that from the ancient Romans and what they used to celebrate it on. It's called Saturnalia. The history behind them lusting over that. Savagery is, it's kind of like when people who really dive deep into Christmas, they're really just some savages, and like they make sacrifices to their children. And then it's also about like the different pagan gods. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna discuss like the history of decorating the tree, the history of Nimrod, his wife, his mother, her son, the whole trees and the evergreen tree, and why we do it on December 25th, or why they adopted to December 25th, so forth and so on. So I got a cool little class for y'all. If y'all got any questions, I'll be on or off topic. Just type it in the chat, and you know what I'm saying, I get that with you. All right. All right. So with that, Christmas, right? So we're gonna discuss briefly what we was taught as kids, like what we know about Christmas. We're gonna address all the lies, and we're gonna start from there. So when I was coming up, we were taught what? It's Jesus's birthday. You know what I'm saying? I used to hear that one a lot. It's Jesus's birthday. Jesus Christ had a birthday, and that's why people were celebrating Jesus Christ's birthday. Okay, cool. No sweat. You want to celebrate Jesus Christ's birthday? Okay, cool. Show me that in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Like, just show me that in the Bible. And nowhere could any pastor, nowhere could any preacher, nowhere could any government official, your parents, your grandparents, nobody could actually explain in detail why they celebrate Christmas. When they say that it is Jesus Christ's birthday, they couldn't show you nowhere in the Bible. Like even when they discuss about Christ leaving the scene for some years and he come back when he was in his 30s, you couldn't find it how they even celebrate his birthday when he left. You damn sure couldn't find it how he even celebrated birthday when he was there. So that's what we're going to discuss about birthdays. It's just that you could not prove biblically that Christ even celebrated a birthday. Then, furthermore, since we're about to get into it, you can't find nowhere in the Bible. We can find that Christmas predates Christ almost like 2,000 years. You know what I'm saying? It predates Christ. On top of that, Christ was not born in winter. It was born in the spring around the Passover. You know what I'm saying? It was born around the new year versus the dead of the year, which is winter. And we can prove that through the scriptures. We can also just prove to show how just the children of Israel, they did not celebrate birthdays unless they was forced to during captivity. Doing like one of them is like in Egypt, Pharaoh made them celebrate birthdays. During another time period, like the Hellenistic time period, they was forced to celebrate birthdays. So outside of them being forced, I mean, like if you don't do this, you're going to die. Some capitulated and celebrated it, but it was not a Hebrew custom. It was not an Israelite custom. It was not a part. We were not allowed to do that under the Mosaic law. You know what I'm saying? So this is not something we're supposed to do under the commandments of God. All right. So like I said, I got some scriptures. I'm trying to decide which one I want to feed y'all first. But basically, let me go ahead and start with ancient Babylon. So we're gonna start with Babylon first. Then I'll tie it into the winter solstice, and then Saturnalia, and then I'll give y'all some more scriptures outside of the ones we are already familiar with, Jeremiah. Because like normally, Jeremiah 10 and 3 through 4, well 10 through 4, Jeremiah 10, 2 through 4, but like it really talks about like the cutting down the tree and decking it out with silver and gold. Those are verses 3 and 4. Really, that should be enough. But for some apparent reason for our people, it never is. So let's get into ancient Babylon. Ancient Babylon. So this is where Nimrod comes on the scene. I'm going to explain to who Nimrod was and how he angered the Most High. All right. So yeah, Nimrod in ancient Babylon is in here. And this is the origin of the so-called Christmas or Xmas, all the other various different titles. As far as the scripture we're going to go to the book of Genesis, chapter 10, verses, I could do 8 through 12, but I might stop at 9. So we're going to go to the book of Genesis. So we're going to go ahead and load up Genesis real quick. And then I'm going to discuss briefly a little bit about Nimrod, give a little bit of a backstory and who the hell this man was. All right. So the book Babylon. All right. So Christmas, the earliest origin, the origins comes from Nimrod, in the ancient Babylonian era or time period. And I'm gonna read what it was in scriptures, but I'm just give a little small backstory on him. As a matter of fact, let's just read it and then I'll do the backstory. All right, so this is the book of Genesis, chapter 10, verse 9. Well, let's go with verse 8. So that way we can understand who Nimrod was and what lineage he comes from. And Cush begot Nimrod, and he began to be a mighty one in the earth. So this is, so he said he's a mighty one of the earth. Verse 9, he was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord. So right here, it says he was a mighty one of the first. So think of Nimrod as the earth's first greatest or mightiest hunter, or like the first warlord. That's who Nimrod was. Like he was a He was a beast. You know what I'm saying? Like he was nothing to joke with. You know what I'm saying? So he was the Earth's first. Think of Nimrod as the Earth's first warlord. A mighty warrior. You understand? So that right there is just gonna show you, okay, like Nimrod was a mighty warrior. What else they speak about? It says verse let's go verse, let me do verse 10. All right, so verse 10. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, and Erech, and Akkad, and Calneh, in the land of Shinar. Verse 11. Out of the land went forth Ashur, and builded Nineveh, and the city of Roboth, and Calah. And verse 12. And resting between Nineveh and Calah, the same as the great city. So just telling you how these cities that he has built, who he was. He was the first, I think it was the first mightiest warrior, or the first warlord. This is Nimrod. So this is the Bible is giving the backstory, a brief history about him, of who he was. We're going to go over just a chapter over, verse 11, and we're going to go through, chapter 11, verses 1 through 9. And we're going to see like how arrogant Nimrod has gotten to the point where like he had to be destroyed by the Most High. You know what I'm saying? Like we're going to, Nimrod was an arrogant son of a, you know what? Like he tried to build a tower to reach up to heaven. You know, so he thought that he could shoot an angel with an arrow. So we're gonna give you what the Bible says about him, and then like what history has wrote down about Nimrod, because you know how things translated from him being worshipped to like who his mother was, and why she did what she did, because they was forced. Like you know what I'm saying, we was under captivity. All right, so let's go to Genesis the 11th chapter, verses 1 through 9. All right, so this is the Bible accounts of the accurate history of Nimrod. So we already know that he was come from Cush, you know what I'm saying, and he was essentially the earth's first warlord. He was a mighty hunter, a mighty warrior. All right, so here we go. Genesis chapter 11, verse 1. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass as they journeyed, like verse 2. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east, they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said to one another, it's like verse 3, and they said to one another, go, let us make a brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime, and they had for mortar. Verse 4, and they said, go, let us build a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven. There it is right there. You know, so he up there conquering and getting land. First thing he want to build a tower that can reach up to heaven. And let us make a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. Verse 5, and the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men builded. Verse 6, and the Lord said, behold, the people is one, and they have all one language. And this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Verse 7, go to, let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So right here, it's just saying like, at this point, like everyone spoke the same language. Nimrod said, let's build this tower to heaven. You know what I'm saying? I'm top notch. I'm about to build this tower to heaven. Can't nobody stop me, not even God himself. So they had one language, meaning like everyone spoke the same languages. So Mosai was like, you know what? Mosai came down to visit Nimrod. So you finna build this, that everybody speaking on the same language. As a matter of fact, let me make them not understand you. Let me separate the languages. Let me divide up the languages so that way you can't even understand one another, to stop some of this foolery. Because as you can see, Nimrod is extremely arrogant. Extremely arrogant. And the Most High does not like that. All right. Keep going. It's like, let's see, what was that? All right, verse 8. So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. Verse 9. Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon all the face of the earth. All right, and then verse 10, and these are the generations of Shem. Shem was upon 100 years old, so it starts talking about the generations of Shem. But right there, just showing you, like, okay, they scattered, he broke up the languages. He didn't want nobody speaking in one language anymore because of how arrogant and cocky they can get to think that they could build a city up to the Most High, build a tower to the Most High. So with other articles I'm about to, or other accounts I'm about to put out, we will know what the Babylonians had recorded. They also stated that how Nimrod thought that he could shoot an angel down with a arrow. He thought that he could, take on the Most High. Like, he really thought that he can box with God. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know how he feel like that. Like, if you trying to box on, you trying to fight something that you can't even see. Trump called it the invisible enemy. That's what Trump called it, the invisible enemy. And you know what I'm saying? So we gotta understand, like, okay, people has always been cocky. And he's going on record as like the first warlord. Right? So this is something that being cocky has always been a part of men on the earth. They get something, they get extremely cocky, and they think that they can just do whatever it is they want. They don't have to respond to anybody. They don't have to respect anybody. They give power to themselves, and they just got extremely cocky. So I'm gonna keep going on. So that's a little bit about Nimrod. So he was in the Babylonian time. So now I'm going to discuss a little bit about his mother or his wife. For those of y'all who don't know, his mother is his mother and also his wife. He slept with his mother, just filthy and disgusting and vile, like a nasty animal. You know what I'm saying? Like a dog can give birth to puppies and sleep with her own kids. You know what I'm saying? Like us as Israel, we got a moral compass and we got laws. Like, we're not gonna sleep with our mother. Like, this is gonna show you like how nasty them Africans are. You know what I'm saying? At the time of Nimrod, they still sleeping with their own mothers and brothers and sisters and just filthy. You know what I'm saying? Like, we never get down like that. And even back then, they was doing that nastiness. Like, you sleeping with your own mother. Like, your mother slept with your father. Now, why you want to sleep with your father's woman? That's your mother. So she's like that's double kin. That's your wife and your damn mother. Like, how disgusting can you be? But, I'm saying, them Africans, they've been filthy and disgusting. All right, so we're going to just keep going on. We're going to discuss briefly about who this mother is of him. And we'll go into the scriptures about her and how they made it law. Like, how is it they was able to conquer and force the children of Israel and others slaves who they might have had to honor and to celebrate Nimrod. It mostly comes from his mother, because Nimrod was just a mighty hunter, the first warlord who got cocky, thought he could build a tower up to God. God destroyed that tower, knocked it down. And then they had everybody speaking one language. He confounded the language and made sure nobody could even understand them, and put in more language up in the earth. All right, so with Nimrod, we're now about to get into his mother. So with Nimrod, when he died, his mother, was saddened, and she ended up having another son. But she made everybody celebrate Nimrod because she felt like he was reincarnated. So therefore, they come back with the evergreen tree, so forth and so on. So let me just go ahead and get into it. We're going to go ahead and get into it about Nimrod. Let me bear with me. So, like, I'm trying to pull up the article. All right. So anyway, yeah, that's not what I want. So with Nimrod, so you got like sun worship. That was one of the practices of with the Cush, and then with his wife Samaria's, I believe I'm pronouncing her name right. She called herself Queen of Heaven. Um, she brought in like these different things. So when Nimrod died, she ended up having another son, and they used to cut up a log called like a loom log, and they used to set fires, and it was to like honor the dead. And the tree comes from, there was an evergreen tree, and she thought he'd come like as a spirit. And with the evergreen tree, it is a tree that when you cut it, it does not change color, like it stays green. And she felt like that was the sign of eternal life, eternal being. So therefore, what she would do is she would make the people come by and to give gifts to that evergreen tree, because that was Nimrod reincarnated. That's his spirit saying that like he'll come back and he'll never leave again. All right, Salaki. Let's see. Let me get ready to some of my notes. Get my other notes. All right. Here you go, my notes. Okay. So what we know is that Nimrod was a warlord, got cocky, got destroyed by the Most High. His mother and his wife, and not his wife, but I'm saying like not his mom and then like someone separate, like they're the same. His wife was his mother. Once he died, she wanted to resurrect him. She wanted him to live forever. She wanted people to worship, to give gifts, and she forced the people of that city to give gifts. If they didn't, they would die. All right. Usalaki. So we're going to discuss about what the Bible says. So with his mother, they used to come together, in the Sumerians rather, and they created like a system, like they was like focus things like did a lot of stuff like with stars and sun worship. And that's what they do. They used to always focus on different gods. Like the Africans, they always had many different gods. They always chose to add a deity to every single small thing. And that's something Nimrod used to do. But once he died, his mother took it to a whole nother level. And she felt like Nimrod was like God, like, what I'm saying, built a tower up to heaven. I'm saying, shot arrows, trying to shoot an angel. All right. So in certain I ain't gonna say in certain, but in different accounts, like I said earlier, like there are several different accounts about Nimrod's mother, Christmas, that whole time frame. But on one account is during the Hislop reports of the Sumerians, his mother earned the name Queen of Heaven, and she claimed that Nimrod was a god and that her newborn son was Nimrod reincarnated. So they began to worship the child god and as a new Babylonian religious system. So this is something like when she got like another son, she thought that was Nimrod reincarnated. That's what we get to talk about, like the evergreen tree, how they used to have logs and jump over logs and set fires and to celebrate every year. All right. So now we're gonna go into like just the book of Jeremiah, chapter 44, verse 15, and we're going to be discussing about. I'm about to read a little bit more history about what the Queen of Heaven made people who they ruled over do. Then we'll go in Jeremiah, how it says not to do of those choices that she said to do. All right, and then we'll go to Isaiah and the wisdom of Solomon. So we're gonna go to Jeremiah, Salaki, We'll go to Jeremiah 44 and 15. And we're going to look at a little bit of this, and we're going to go from there. All right. So according to the article, so here we go. This is based on the article, and the other little bit more history about Nimrod's mother. So when we get into the Bible, it says that according to different other accounts, many believe about the Sumerians took credit for the forming tradition of Christmas. The Christmas tree and Easter bunny, other identifies as the origin of the Whore of Babylon, according to the Congressional Medal of Honor Society. So there's, like I said, there's so many different accounts. You know, you got the Babylons, and then you got the Samaritans, then you got doing different periods of history, like you got the Romans, you got the Greeks, how they kept different customs. So like, all this is really just about money, and it was just about to make people worship her dead son Nimrod, or the reincarnated son who she thought was her son Nimrod. And then we keep going from there. So I'm going to go into on this account where they try to make people follow her. Then I'm going to in Jeremiah. So this book of Jeremiah, chapter 44, verse 15. So here's the stuff that she would force people to do, and the children of Israel did it. One of the celebrations, you got to pour out drinks. You have to give gifts to the tree. You have to decorate it, and so forth and so on. Well, over time, it started off with like they just to cut just the a tree, had like a big log, a big fire, and then they used to come by a tree, an evergreen tree, and then they used to like give gifts. You know what I'm saying? They'll put their gifts down, they'll leave, and then they come back, the gifts will be gone. So they'll think that Nimrod took those gifts, but like his problem was his mother took those gifts for herself. Then over time, they adapt different ideologies, different ways to make business out of it, make money. So this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 44, verse 15. Then all the men which knew that their wives had burnt incense unto gods, and all the women that stood by the great multitude, even all the people that dwelt in the land of Egypt, in Pathros, answered Jeremiah, saying, verse 16, as for the word that has spoken unto us in the name of the Lord, we will not hearken unto thee. That's what saying. Jeremiah said, like, we ain't gonna listen to you. All right. So like it. What am I at? 15. So like verse 17. But we will certainly do whatsoever thing goeth forth out of our own mouth, to burn incense unto the Queen of Heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto her. And we have done, we and our fathers, our kings and our princes, in the cities of Judah, and the streets of Jerusalem. And then we had plenty of victuals, and were well, and saw no evil. But verse 18. But since we left off to burn incense to the Queen of Heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto her, we have wanted all things, and we have been consumed by the sword and by famine. That's why now Jeremiah's telling, like, hey, some of our fathers, they celebrated the Queen of Heaven. They honored her and did all these things for her, and they did it, their fathers and the sons and the prince and princesses. They honored this filthy heathen, Queen of Heaven, Nimrod's wife, who's his mother. And Jeremiah said, yeah, our people did that, and they loved you and did all that. But since they turned it back on the Most High, and they followed Nimrod's traditions, this is what happened to them. They said, like, son, we ain't got nothing but the sword and famine. Like, All we did was die and starve. Reread verse 18. But since we left off to burn incense to the Queen of Heaven and to pour out drink offerings unto her, we have wanted all things. Like now you need everything. You're not being blessed by the Most High. He done took his hand away from you because you following other gods, you following after heathens, because what the Most High had for you wasn't no good for the children of Israel. It says, since we have wanted all things and have been consumed by the sword and by famine. Like everywhere you go, like you turn your back on the Most High, you get no more protection. So you're gonna die out here in these streets. You're gonna starve to death, like you got famine, like, and that's what's going on in the earth today. You know what I'm saying? We're not following after the Most High, and all you see is the sword out there in the streets, and all you see is famine. Like people are still starving and they still dying today, like how they did thousands of years ago. So like celebrating Christmas, you know what I'm saying, this is a lustful thing. You know what I'm saying? You got son and mother together lusting after one another, like he can't find another woman or she can't find another man that lusted in. The savagery, how like they, as I'm bringing out later in scriptures, you know, they was killing people who did not honor her dead son that was reincarnated, you know what I'm saying, and how he was a warlord and a mighty hunter, and how he can try to build a tower up to the Most High. So, like, throughout time, like, this is what's been going on, and Jeremiah said, you know, our people did this, and they saw no evil in it, but man, we are being destroyed out here. All right, but keep going. Verse 19. So I can keep up with my time. All right, verse 19. And when we burned incense to the Queen of Heaven and poured out drink offerings unto her, did we make her cakes to worship her and pour out drinks offerings unto her without our men? Verse 20. Then Jeremiah said unto all the people, to the men and to the women, and to all the people which has given him that answer, saying, the incense that ye, verse 21, Salaki, the incense that ye burn in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem, ye and your fathers, your kings and your princes, your prince and your people of the land, did not the Lord remember them, and came it not into his mind? He asked the question, like, do you think the Lord forgot about that? No, he didn't forget about that. Verse 22, so that the Lord could no longer bear because of the evil of your doings and because of the abomination which you have committed. Therefore is your land of desolation and the astonishment and a curse without an inhabitant as today. It's in verse 23, because ye have burned incense and because ye have sinned against the Lord and have not obeyed the voice of the Lord, nor walked in his law, nor his statutes, nor his testimonies. Therefore, this evil is happened unto you as at this day. So that's what happened in that day. That's what's happening now. Like we've been following out these heathens' customs. We've been following out, doing what it is they told us to do, and that's what's happened to our people now. Now let's get into. We'll go briefly on about the winter solstice. All right, so and how this ties into everything. The winter solstice is basically, initially, it wasn't like a holiday. It was just when it's basically when there's a certain time of the year, as you know, the Earth is, you know, is the way it's shaped and how it's tilted on the axis. There's certain places on the Earth where like they only get nighttime, maybe 2 hours a day. It's pretty much, or some place on the Earth where it's like the sun don't ever go down. So with the winter solstice, it happens around this time of year, like December 23rd, 24th, 25th, like the latter parts of December. always in the latter parts, like in the 20s, 20 to up to mid 20, and it's basically when the Earth's pole, when it's tilt and it reaches like its maximum point away from the sun. And it really happens like almost twice a year. So one part of the year, that's when like the day is the shortest, and the night is the longest. That's what happens in that's the winter solstice. It's basically that's all it is. But people made it to a pagan holiday and they want to celebrate. You know what I'm saying? It has become known as the shortest day, the longest night. That's because that's something that the Earth does. All right, so that's the winter solstice in a nutshell. It's also called the hibernal solstice, and it's just basically some science. You know what I'm saying? Like certain part of the Earth, when it hits, well, not a certain part, but majority of the Earth, when it hits this point, the day is shorter because the way the Earth is tilted on that axis. You know, this is how can I put this? Give me something circular. Maybe I'll try this. Maybe this will work. So you picture this as like we'll just say something like, I hope it's not too terrible. So let's say this is like the sun, and then here's the Earth. You know what I'm saying? The sun is foreshadowing it. You know, Earth, it goes in a circle around and it's turning. So picture the Earth like tilted. So some part of the Earth, it won't get that much sun. You get more night. And then that's one part of the year. Then the next part of the year, it tilts back. Then you get more sun and a little bit of less light. It's like it's turning. I know it's a little terrible while I was demonstrating holding it, but yeah, I was trying to basically show you that the Earth tilts on the pole. And that's how you get, like, that's the winter solstice. You know what I'm saying? That's it. It tilts towards the sun and it's a spin. You get a shorter day, longer night, and it tilts back. That's the winter solstice. Now, what happens is Saturnalia. Saturnalia also takes place around this time of the year in December, but most so around like December 17th. And this is something that the Romans did. All right, so this is something that they did. This is one of their customs. No one should take place into that, but you know, hey, Israel love to do what heathens do. You know, we love to follow out what they like to do. This is something that we've grown accustomed to. All right, so far what we have is about Christmas origin is sun worship. It's the worship of like an evergreen tree of the mighty hunter or warlord, as in Nimrod. This is something that the Babylonians did, and his mother, who titled herself or got the name of Queen of Heaven. Her name, what is it? I wrote her name down somewhere. This is Rod's name is Samarius or something like that. Let me just type in damn name. But she is so like, let me type in, make sure I pronounce it right. Let's see. Her name is Semiramis. Yeah, Semiramis. All right, Semiramis is her name, Shalaki. Also known as Queen of Heaven. All right, Semiramis that's his devil's name. Well, you know, heathen. All right, so back to it. So Christmas, so far, the origin comes from is Nimrod. It's a Babylonian custom. It is a celebration of Nimrod, sun worship, evergreen tree, the reincarnation of Nimrod coming back. The winter solstice, that's the time frame, like they take the shortest day, the longest night. And then next we're gonna go into Saturnalia. So like all these different things ties into Christmas. All these things ties into it, because now we're going to discuss later on Um, the Santa Claus, we will be discussing that. Um, the things are like who Santa Claus really was, because everything outside of Nimrod, everything has like a origin point that they take from it, and they add out to one big melting pot. All right, so next we're about to get into Saturnalia. All right, so basically Saturnalia is an ancient Roman festival, and it's a holiday to honor their god Saturn. All right, it's held around December, in the later teens, like December 17th, and that's when they would get together. They'll get together and they'll like give gifts. They'll have like the festival to take about 5 days, so it's like around the 17th to like the 23rd. And these Romans that get together, they was doing like the Julian calendar, so they'll get together and they would, say give gifts. They would drink wine and they'll have festivals. So they would celebrate. Them coming together, they celebrate to different gods and other different temples. Now that's for the Romans. You know what I'm saying? They're doing like they make sacrifices, doing the temple of Saturn. All right. Now we all know that Romans had slaves, so sometimes they let their slaves get days off. Now that is the PG version of the history of Saturnalia. What you have to do further research into it, you have to look at those books about what they essentially did, but it left out key parts. It left out the homosexuality. You know what I'm saying? It left out, let's see. Salaki, let's see. All right. So in Saturnalia, it left out that, in the Romans, there was a time like they had to force themselves to marry a wife because of how rampant homosexuality was. So that's when like they had to have a wife. So what they'll do is during these festivals that they get away. Yeah, they had slaves, but like it'll be just the men that was doing it, men and small children, and they would get away from their wives, and they would celebrate, their god of Saturn, and they did for like agriculture and liberation and all that blah 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 blah. But these nasty bastards, they would have sex with men and with children, small children, and this way for them to release themselves, to live them true selves, because it was the law that they had to have a wife. All right. So let me keep going. Let's see. So Saturnalia, that was just basically during that time of the year, like December 17th through the 23rd. Also, the winter solstice is around the 20th. So now you got all this stuff around December. You got the shortest day, longest night. You got the Greek gods of Saturn, or with the Romans, and Salaki. So this is what we have. All right. Salaki. Let me go back. All right, so basically it's Salaki. So Saturnalia, that's the Roman festival, and they had sex with, they went from them like Blaustein, like they celebrate up to their gods. They had sex with small children. They had sex with other men, wives as well, including themselves. So like it was a way for them to lust after one another under the umbrella of them making a sacrifice to their god Saturn. So here's right here, during this time of the year, December 17th through the 23rd, so that's what the Romans did. There was a sacrifice to their god of Saturn. So now we got Nimrod, You know what I'm saying? And how he made people do stuff with the trees, deck it out. Then we got the winter solstice. It's just a point of the origin of when the sun, when Earth axis tilt. You know, so it's a shorter day and a little bit longer night. It happens twice a year. And then next we have the Romans. So you got these different origins all around December 25th. Well, we'll get into later how it becomes 25th. But you got Nimrod, then you got the Romans, and then you got like just these signs of the earth just tilting. All of which has nothing to do with the children of Israel. And when I put in the lust part, the lust is from what the Romans did. When I put in the savagery is from Nimrod and what the Romans did. And then when I put in about the worship of the gods, you worship the god of Queen of Heaven. She became a god. And then you got the Romans and the god of Saturn. So those are two different gods. And they both happen around this Christmas time, or they call it Christmas spirit. Real quick, so let's get into Jeremiah 10 and 2. So I can just go over about what not to do as far as with the Christmas tree. You know, sometimes people don't understand. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 1, and we'll go through 5. All right, so this one right here normally should be enough as a direct cut of not to celebrate Christmas, but some of our people still need more, and I'm going to give that. And I got another scripture that people might not have heard of in the Bible as it pertains to Christmas. All right, this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10, verse 1. Hear ye the word which the Lord spake of unto you, O house of Israel. Thus said the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen. Be not dismayed at these signs of heaven, for heaven art dismayed at them. Verse 3, for the customs of the people are vain. For those who don't know what vain means like nothing. For the customs of people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of a workman with an axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and hammers, that it move not. Verse 5. They are upright as a palm tree, but speak not. They must need to be born, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do no evil. Neither also it is of them to do any good. That right there is Christmas today in the Bible. And Jeremiah was talking about that because he was talking about the Queen of Heaven and Nimrod, and that was one of the customs that they forced upon people who they ruled over. Cut out that tree, give out those gifts. All right, next we're about to go to Isaiah, the 57th chapter. So here's one of the scriptures that you can also go to, how it talks about why our people do what we do, and how we come into the mix of, decorating the tree, so forth and so on. So this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 57. We'll start at verse 5. It says, inflaming yourselves with idols under every green tree. Hold on, right there. Inflaming yourselves. I mean, like, you going so hard to worship this idol. Like, that's what our people doing now. It says, inflaming yourselves with idols. Like, you're going to desire that tree. Like, you can't wait to go buy it. You get so happy, and you want to celebrate. You buying this damn green tree, or at that time cutting out the tree. For those who still like to cut trees out, it says inflaming yourself, like you got all the good spirit, like you're anxious for it. It says, verse 5, inflaming yourselves with idols under every green tree, slaying the children in the valleys under the clefts of rocks. Like slaying the children. Like, don't you know that they slayed their children during Christmas, celebrating Nimrod, and our people still do it today? Like if people say like they don't sacrifice their children or they don't slay their children, they are a liar. And how do you know that? Because we all heard that the news was talking about during this just past Halloween that the candy was laced with fentanyl. And yet still you let your children go out there and get the candy anyways. Like when I was coming up, like that right there is sacrificing your children. You knowing that the news have reported that saying like don't be careful with this candy because it's laced with fentanyl. They're giving your children fentanyl. And if you let your child go out there and get the candy anyways, that is you slaying your child, slaying your children. I know when I was growing up, I used to see stuff on the news that talk like, look out from the candy because like they be putting needles in the candy. They be putting they would give you candy that's like halfway open, so it could have a little anthrax in it. They'll tell like, okay, this is how you check the wrapper, stuff like that. They always report about what's happening with candy that they give to the children. And if you're a parent and let your child go out there anyway, that is you slaying your children. That's how they did it back then, and that's how they're still doing it today. All right, so we're going to keep going. Verse 6. Among the smooth stones of the stream is thy portion, that they are thy lot. Even to them has thy part drink offering. Thou hast offered a meat offering. Should I receive comfort in these? Like they're talking about like with the stones and stuff. Like you're making an offering to rocks. You're making an offering to a tree. Like that's what you're gonna give to the Most High. Like what can that tree or rock do for the Most High? Like, and that's what our people was doing. Like today, our people is doing everything they can for it to appease our oppressor. They're doing everything they can to appease this ideology of Christmas. This thinking that we can just do what we want, that we could just everything be all right. You know what I'm saying? Doing stuff for this tree, doing stuff for this wood. Like they would take wood or take stones and cut them up and to make images, and these are just different idols that the Most High hates and despises. So what could that wood or stone do for the Most High? All right. All right, verse 7. It says, upon a lofty and high mountain hast thou set thy bed, and that wentest thou up for a sacrifice. All right, verse 8. And here's where we get into like the reefs and stuff like that. It says, behind the doors also behind the doors also in posts hast thou set up thy remembrance. For thou hast discovered thyself to another than me, and art gone up. Thou hast enlarged thy bed, and had made thee a covenant with them, and thou lovest their bed where thou sawest it. All right, so verse 8, it says, and behind the doors also the posts. Like with that door that it's talking about, think about that door. It's like you close that door, and what's behind that door is the tree. That's like your post. All right. Shalom, got you, Warrior. All right, so we've I'm just checking in the chat. I see you in there. All right, so Isaiah 57:8. It says, behind the doors is that post, and thou hast set up thy remembrance. So like how can you put something on the door that you can remember? That's where your lighting comes from. Like you see that wreath. Like if you see that wreath on that door, you're going to remember, okay, this is the Christmas spirit. You see like those Christmas lights on the house, on the doors, in the front yard. That is how you're going to remember where it's at. That's how you remember it. And then once you open up the door, you're going to see another thing that reminds you of it, which is the Christmas tree. All right. It says, and that's how thou hast discovered thyself. How you discover something is like what you see. Like I discovered that, okay, what's inside the house, I discovered that's Christmas. And once I leave the house and close, I remember that the decorations. And that's how you discover what's going on. Like if you want to know if someone has the Christmas spirit or they worship Christmas, a lot of times just drive by their house and you will remember who they are. You will see who they are, and it will hearken unto you. Okay, they got like a Christmas wreath on the door. They got a Christmas tree up. This is how they remember. This is how they hearken unto their spirit. All right. Let's see. Let me go. Get one more scripture. Let's go to the Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14 and 15. Also, or if you got any questions, just type it in. I'm bringing out some scriptures that like we all heard of, like the Jeremiah 10 and chapter 10 verses 1 through 4. But now sometimes I think it's important for some of Israel, they just cannot accept that one scripture, so they got to get a whole bunch of them. You know what I'm saying? All right, so lock here. So we're going to the Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 15. And it's in the Apocrypha. But we as a people, I have stated in Jeremiah, like we as a people has always worshiped and take on different idols. We've always dived deep into like the customs of other people. So we've always dived deep into like the customs of our oppressor. Whoever's oppressing us, whoever rules over us is the ruling class, and that's what we would do. All right, so Isaiah chapter 57, verses 5 through 8. Those are other deep bedrock scriptures that show you and tell you that how you should not partake into Christmas. That primarily like chapter verse 8. It talks about like that's the decorating, the idols and the different worship. Wisdom of Solomon, as we're about to read right now, Wisdom of Solomon chapter 14 verse 15. It says, "For a father attached with the ultimate mourning, and he have made an image of his child soon taken away, now honored him as a god, which then was a dead man, and delivered to those that were under him ceremonies and sacrifices." All right, so right there we're talking about Nimrod. Like these are just men that have been dead, and we honor them. Like I ain't part of the line of Cush, you know. So I have no relations with anything dealing with Nimrod. So why would I care about some guy 4,000 years ago, and him dying being a warlord? Like that's the thing is like we always got to honor somebody that's dead, or to honor some other God that has nothing to do with the children of Israel. And that's what's been going on with us today. That's all we ever do was to honor the dead of our own people. Like, you know, so no one, Christians never really honor Christ. They say they do, but they don't. They can't prove that they're doing it according to the scriptures. So like we as Israel, we got to wake up out this slump. Like we're gonna have to start just looking at certain origins of like, okay, what does this have to do with you? If you know that Christmas has different accounts to it, from Nimrod to the winter solstice of the sun tilting point, and then Saturnalia, or the Romans god of Saturn. Like, what does it have to do with you? Like, that has nothing to do with you. And I could give y'all 100 reasons why you shouldn't celebrate Christmas, but I'll just keep it down to like a 4 or 5. One, it's Nimrod. You know what I'm saying? That he was a warlord, and he slept with his mother, and then she had kids, and he died, and she forced people to celebrate them, to the point where like Isaiah talks about it, to the point where like Jeremiah talks about it, how they forced the children of Israel to celebrate this dead man, and how they made sacrifices and killed the children of Israel. You know what I'm saying? And then that's that. Then on top of it, you got slaves who went on this. You know, when we first came over here, slaves did not celebrate Christmas. You know what I'm saying? But what our oppressor did was he gave our slaves, our ancestors, a day off during Christmas. So therefore, they used to love and honor having that day off. Because you can imagine that you being beat constantly from sun up to sundown every day, and then your oppressor gives you some eggnog, say, hey, look, today's Christmas, take this day off. Don't you know how happy that would make a slave? Master gave us a day off. So therefore, he programmed us through oppression, through beating the children of Israel year in, year out, and then it gives them one day off during Christmas. That's the reason why our ancestors today celebrate Christmas, because that wasn't a custom of ours. Yeah, we did it back during the Babylonian time period, but after a while, we had stopped. So we had no reason. It was no longer forced upon us. But with our oppressor today, so he gave us that day off. Like, yeah, you were slaving. You had your slavery. You get a day off then during slavery, and you get a day off today. So, like, that's the reason why our people celebrate Christmas to this day. It's because of that day off. Now, here's what I tell our people now. You got your day off, but you still don't have to celebrate it. Here's the next reason why you should not celebrate it. We're going to just I'm going to give y'all some reasons. First, we gave y'all because of Nimrod. And then we'll add inside of that an asterisk next to Nimrod. The winter solstice and Saturnalia has nothing to do with you. Second is it gave the slaves a day off. So those are the two. Now we'll go to three. One, with your children. A lot of people think that they're doing it for their kids. One, if you say you're gonna do it for your kids, one is disingenuous. Because if you say you're doing it for your kids, why do you have to wait until December 25th to buy them gifts or to give them gifts? Why can't you just do that when it's necessary or when you want to reward them? That's why I say it's disingenuous, because you're gonna wait till America tell you when you should buy your kids a gift. And that's the reason why you should not celebrate Christmas, because it's doing it for your kids while you wait till whenever else buy the children kids gifts. And the asterisk onto that is two things. One, Blacks, Hispanics, and Americans, we go broke during Christmas. We really don't have that kind of money. It is in the heart of winter. We all know that it's cold outside. Things tend to slow down, depending on your occupation. If you are, let's say you're a bartender or something, you own a club or something. Sometimes that money slow up. You really don't have the money to go broke to buy all your kids these gifts. That's going to be broke before the new year comes in. And on the answer to that is, when you buy your kids these gifts, we do know that sometimes you buy your kids the wrong gift because you cannot afford all those gifts. And then when you buy your kids those gifts, and they see other kids get the gifts that they could not get, it'll make your kids hate you. I remember I used to hate some of my parents one time. Like, I didn't get what I wanted. I wanted a moped. And, they got me like a Batman car and stuff like that. I used to hate my mother. My father wasn't really there, but I used to hate my mother. Like, man, I wanted a moped. I did good in school. All I wanted was a moped. Didn't get that. The next year, I wanted some money, no TVs. All I wanted was $100 in ones. Didn't get that. Hated her for that. 1 year, I wanted the PlayStation when it first came out. I wanted the PlayStation. Didn't get that till like 3 years later. I wanted like new games. Like, when you celebrate Christmas and you are poor and you cannot afford to give the kids that they ask for, it's going to make the kids hate you. They're going to grow up resenting you. So you should not celebrate Christmas because you cannot afford the gifts that they want to begin with. And for those of you who say you can't afford it, you still shouldn't celebrate it, because why are you doing what America tells you to do when you buy your kids a gift? And then let's get into the whole Santa Claus. Santa, that old fat white bastard that comes down the chimney, that is a American propaganda to sell the idea of Christmas. Well, they don't tell you that the whole idea of Santa comes from a black man in Russia by the name of Saint Nicholas. He was a black man, and what he used to do was just to give gifts to poor kids in an orphanage. That's how that all comes from. So if you ever heard the word Saint Nick or Saint Nicholas, it ain't from no damn Santa Claus. It's from a black man in Russia who used to give gifts to children in an orphanage. It's to have their socks, they hang off their socks, and he go put gifts inside those socks. Well, it might be coins, it might be food, whatever the case may be. He'll put stuff in those socks. That's where you get the socks from, I might add. So that's the reason why you shouldn't celebrate Christmas. So we got Nimrod, then you got let's see, you can't afford it. You know what I'm saying? Santa Claus is fake. That's a lie. For those who say it's for Jesus Christ's birthday, Nimrod, it come 2000 before Jesus Christ's birthday. So that's out the door. And then when Christ was on the scene, you can find out one scripture where it says that he even celebrated Christmas, yet alone his own birthday. And on top of that, he wasn't even born in the winter. He was born in spring. You can take to the count of when one is, you can look into when they was fleeing, when he was about to be born, you know what I'm saying, they had to pay taxes. You know, if you look at it with the Romans and Greeks, they don't always come collect their taxes during the spring. And that's when Christ was born, right around Passover in the spring. So therefore, it was not collecting the taxes in the winter. All right, they're collected in the spring. So there's several different accounts you can look into to show that Christ did celebrate Christmas. So that's a lie. So it says it's Christ's birthday. That's a lie. That's Nimrod. That's Saturnalia. That's the winter solstice. This is America. So for America, it's now big business. America we'll have to look into after this next Christmas, look into the numbers and see how much money they really make. America's just about big business. They're gonna put all these things on sale that they could not sell through the whole year. Like the stuff you think you buying is brand new, the stuff they had on the shelves 2 or 3 years ago, they just couldn't get rid of it. So now they're gonna put it up today. Could you imagine like how much death happens on Christmas? Like how many people get trampled over? How many people get ran over? How many people get stomped on? Because they want to go out and buy products. They want to go out and buy goods. So that's what Christmas is about in today's time, and especially in America. It's about money. America don't give a damn about Nimrod. America don't give a damn about Saturnalia. America don't give a damn about some fat jolly white guy sliding down the chimney. I know when I was in the hood, we didn't even have no chimney. So how can he slide down and give us gifts anyways? And we don't want no white boy in our house nowhere. So it's all about business. It's how can they sell something to you. So today is all these different things that took place is all about Nimrod. Today is about what is it about this that it'll make you want to buy that product. So with Nimrod, we know that he was a warlord and he slept with his mother. But okay, today, how can it make you celebrate it? Well, we'll take the tree and the decorations off the tree. You know what I'm saying? So we'll take the decking it out with silver and gold, so forth and so on. All right? So we'll take that. So next, okay, well, let's go with a time frame. You know what I'm saying? You got Saturnalia, that's from 17th through the 25th. Then you got the winter solstice, that's around the 20th through like the 27th. So let's just go with somewhere in the middle. Let's go with the 25th. So we give y'all December 25th. We'll give y'all the Christmas tree and the ornaments and the wreaths and the decoration and the fires. So you got that. So what else can we sell y'all on? Can we sell y'all on some guy with reindeers and so happy and jolly and he give gifts? What can we give y'all that too? So this is what America has given people today to buy this product, to buy into getting a part of our Christmas. So it has nothing to do with the actual work of our people. It's just all about money. And that's all Christmas is about today. Now granted, and partaking into Christmas, by proxy, you are celebrating Nimrod and Saturnalia and the fake fat jolly guy, Santa Claus. You understand? So by proxy, you are going into lust. You are going to that savagery and the worship of other gods. But you can stop all that. You know what I'm saying? I'll say, to hell with what they would call Christ's birthday, wasn't his birthday. To hell with Nimrod. To hell with feeding America and her economy. So to make you go broke. How about just keep your money? Just buy your kids gift when you can afford it and give it to them regularly. You don't have to wait till December 25th. Because I know I used to need clothes in September, in October. Now, you can do it in my household. You need clothes in October, too close to Christmas. You're going to have to wait to get that to Christmas. You know what I'm saying? Or I need clothes in the summertime. I need summer clothes. Well, you gonna have to get you some winter clothes because you know what I'm saying, it's gonna be Christmas just a half a year away. Everything was always about Christmas. So what we know today is the Bible speaks about Christmas in so many different forms. The origin of Christmas comes from Nimrod. There are several different accounts about Nimrod, but all of them still, in essence, come around the same thing. One thing is true that people talk about was he was a hunter. He did sleep with his mother. She did force people to uh, celebrate her son on the evergreen tree. The stuff with the lights, they want to light up the area. They want to light up the tree. They just put candles up so everything be light that you can see. And if you did not give gifts, you know what I'm saying? And if you did not give gifts, and then the Samaritans and the Babylonians, they'll come see you and they will kill you. You know what I'm saying? They'll chop your head off and they'll put it on the tree. That's where you get some of the Christmas balls from. You get the Christmas lights because they used to set fires by the tree to light it up. That's where the Christmas lights come from. The balls come from they cutting off heads and they put it on top of the tree. Also, people who did willingly to go celebrate Nimrod, they did that because they felt like if they give a gift to Nimrod, Nimrod give them a gift back. And it was just a way to get more money. You understand? The same way people go to church and they give out those tithes, they think that the Lord will give them something back. When you're only giving tithes to a selfish, lying pastor who's going to feed himself and not his congregation. All right, so the tree comes from Nimrod. The lights come from the fire. The bells, they got that with cutting off heads. They hang heads up by the tree, and then over time they call it just ornaments. They just decorate the tree. Isaiah said this is just an idol that people should not focus on. Decorating the houses and the wreaths, you know what I'm saying? We read that in Isaiah the 57th chapter, verses 5 through 8. That's basically discussing about how you're going to be reminded and you're going to see who's in the Christmas spirit. That's where you get the wreaths. That's where you get from like the decorating the houses. Is to remind yourself, okay, this is what you're coming to do. This is who you were. As a matter of fact, I might need to go back and read Isaiah 57, 8. Let's see. Yeah. So in Isaiah 57 chapter, verse 8, it primarily speaks about how you can remind yourself and how you can find out who's doing what. As it says in verse 8, so you can discover who's in the Christmas spirit. So the Bible speaks about it in totality. And then, another bedrock is Jeremiah, the 10th chapter. You can go verses 1 through 4, but it hits it home on 3 and 4. So over time, like I said, there's different accounts. Over time, they kind of like add things to it. So initially, it started off as, if you ain't celebrate Nimrod, we'll come kill you, hang your head up by the tree. Then they start to celebrate Nimrod. Then it's to give gifts, the thing that they get money back in return. Then that's how it was for Nimrod. Then you got Saturnalia, they just come out there just to celebrate. That's the whole point of everyone gathering together under the god of Saturn. Like people come together to have a good time. It was the festival that the Romans did. And they would give gifts and they would, have a good time. They would feast. That's the PG version. The rated R version that they'll come together. They give their gifts and they have their feast. And then it's time to go sleep with that man. It's time to go terrify with same sex. LGBTQ plus IA community. They would sleep with children. They would molest children. It was lawful back then. They would sleep with their slaves. So that's the part about everyone coming together around the Christmas time. Santa Claus, they took that from Saint Nicholas, a black man over in Russia who gave gifts to orphans. So Santa Claus come from Saint Nicholas. He give gifts to the orphans. He put it inside the sock. Therefore, you get that sock today. And then they took it from a black man. They made it to a fat white man. It made it soft enough for children. It lures children in. Like you got this fat guy with the reindeer. It looks so peaceful. It looks so happy. That's how they sell it to children, and that's how they, for the parents who want to do for the children, that's how they reel them in. America did it with, so America took, well, let me go back before I go to America. Our people got into it of the day off because our oppressors or slave masters gave the slaves a day off. So therefore, you've been beat on that field, you get a day off on Christmas, you're going to love Christmas. So during to have to endure it through hell, and you get that day off, it's going to make you love that day. But prior to that, our ancestors, they knew nothing of this. They did not partake into no damn Christmas. It's just that you got a day off and you went through hell, you're going to take it. So therefore, you got a day off then, you have a day off now. America decided, okay, how can we make this big business? We're going to pick a day. We're going to take the green tree. Instead of hanging heads up, we're going to put the lights up, or we're going to put the ornament balls up. Instead of setting the tree on fire, we're going to do lights. So we got the tree, we got the ornaments, we got the lights. All right, we got that. That's Nimrod. So next we got, instead of the winter solstice, of the shortest day, longest night, instead of Saturn, the god of Saturn, we're just going to gather together December 25th. We got that. We ain't going to say it's a black man that gave gifts. We'll say it's a fat white boy that gave gifts. So we got that. So next, what else can we do? We're going to make it fun for the children. We're going to give you a day off because we gave the slaves a day off. And this is where Christmas comes from. Today is big business. So all these different accounts of Christmas come from Nimrod. But over time, America, or the powers that be, that run the earth, they take different things from different accounts. They took this from Nimrod, took this from the winter solstice, took that from Saturnalia. But these scriptures tells us in Isaiah and Jeremiah, and just primarily those two, why we should not partake into it. If you are of the children of Israel, if you are so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American, you are forbidden to partake inside of anything of Christmas. Don't even be in the spirit of wearing that old stupid, ugly Christmas sweater. You understand? So like, we're not gonna partake into none of that. Also with Christianity, I forgot to bring out, with Christianity, they say they love Jesus, so they're gonna say it's Jesus' birthday. And that's how they reel in more Christians. So they take everything. There's so many different, far as Christmas, we know it's Nimrod, but there's so many different origins of how they attach Christmas to us today. You do the Nimrod, you can do Jesus Christ, you can do just what the slaves got the day off from. But this is what's going on with the Christmas. So Christmas is all about lust, savagery, and the worship of other gods. And that is the origin, that is the history about Christmas. So yeah, you got the scriptures, you know what I'm saying, that Isaiah 57, 5-8 is the bedrock, Jeremiah 10, 1 through 4 is the bedrock. So that's what we have, all right? So that's what we have right there. And that's the Winter Festival. So this has been one of my favorite classes, you know what I'm saying? And this is what we got to understand. Like, we got to study, y'all. We got to study and show ourselves improved, because if we don't, we're going to forever be a part of this downward cycle of not knowing what we got to do, of always forever being fourth class citizens, not second class citizens, fourth class. Like, we are way down at the bottom. All right, so I pray and hope that these scriptures will help, you know what I'm saying, gird you up to not be in the spirit of celebrating Christmas. So now you got the origin. Now you even got more of a scriptures of why our people do what they do with the wreaths and with the lights and where everything comes from. We got the time frame, we got the event, and we got the why, and we got the how, and we got how it's still prevalent to our people today. All right, so, but if you're a so-called Black, Hispanic, American, man, stay away from Christmas. You can't afford it no way. And if you're going to be a smart ass and say you can't afford it, no, what you afford is a certain death to your child. It's a certain death to yourself by angering the Most High. All right, so with that, Prison Officer Darakia, this is the No Cowards. This is the Monday Night History class. You know what I'm saying? We've been establishing teaching truth since 1969 under Commanding General Hama. So to all the brothers, Yahweh Bashin Yahweh Shah Barakatah, and to all the sisters, Yahweh Shemal Alatah, Bashin Yahweh. All right, shalom. Shalom, Israel.
From Westworld.
From Westworld.
Let's get it.
Gon' be sure, tell them make sure. If not, we gon' make war. Clips say it hold 20, but I think it could take more. Grab a stick, fire on your camp, we gon' make s'mores. I ain't satisfied with my spot, then I'ma take yours. No matter how many roadblocks in my way, I'ma break forward. This path I'm on is so damn narrow, I just stay forward. Put them on my plate, I'm never full, I just ate more. Put them on my plate, I'm never full, give me 8 more. Nigga, I don't sugarcoat shit, bitch, I'm straightforward. Don't give a fuck if they don't let me in, I just break doors. Ballin' so hard, they asking what team that I play for. Scammer who? They ain't stopped making guns when they made yours. Sick with it, feeling like I woke up with stage 4. They ain't want the beast loose, what they opened up the cage for. Endure the pain, been through hard times is what I'm made for. Paid my dues, never left a wage, I just rage war. So many chains and gold teeth, it's the blood of a slave. Sit on a throne with a gold crown from the blood of a slave. This is our world, got it from the mud to the grave. Become a thing in the past, don't be a story in my page.
Stood against all enemies. In high school, you was the man that's lost memory shit. Lost energy, never lost my energy. Never lose control, never losing, dog, I plan to keep. You lose your mind where I'm from, I ain't talking from what you see. I never lost soul, losing times, wasting steady pacing. You off track, I'm on that. You pray to God, hoping he can save you. But there's power about war, and that's a different angle. This another lost cause, and I'm just adding to the list. They not seeing me for that reason, got a flash on the grip. Nigga, big priest, they gon' judge me by my increase. And I'ma keep stepping in these joys to the increase. Just got off the phone with Jacob, and he said it's time to shine. Certified, blue dot, put it on you, now you verified. One West world, bigger than World War III. Do not sleep, it's not cheap, and it's still top 3.
So many chains and gold teeth, it's the blood of a slave. Sit on a throne with a gold crown from the blood of a slave. This is our world, got it from the mud to the grave. Become a thing in the past, don't be a story in my page.
Came on boats and then chains, so when I get rich, I'ma grab a boat and 10 chains with 12 ribs from each tribe. And each rib gonna have at least 3 kids. Yeah, I'ma have a deep squad. Been rapping since knee high, now a nigga shack size. Spit that holy fire, when you hear it, you get baptized. One West world, yeah, you niggas know the logo. And I'ma bust it down so the haters see the globe glow. Let's have a feast, let's shine on our enemies. Right in they face, let's blind all our enemies. Cause now we half, but we come from half knots. Throw that cash on the ground, my nigga, let's cast lots. I started from the bottom, birthed out of mud, raised by gangsters, turned out a thug. I ain't give a fuck, burnt out I was, from hitting licks in and out and selling nicks in the drop.
So many chains and gold teeth, it's the blood of a slave. Sit on a throne with a gold crown from the blood of a slave. This is our world, got it from the mud to the grave. Become a thing in the past, don't be a story in my page.